Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to Big Old Games unboxing of the latest Dice Masters Collector's Box for the new War of Light series. So this is the latest in the DC Dice Masters range. So I'm just going to take off the shrink wrap here and just going to show you what's inside the collector's box so you can see what you get. So the main aim of the collector's box is actually for collecting, funnily enough. They're built as a way to store all of your dice and cards for your collection, and for that purpose they do work really well. So you get in here quite a nice collector's guide, so you can tick down here as you collect the individual cards. Obviously just displaying the gravity feed and two-player starter set from there. And on the flip side, you also get a nice little playmat sort of for playing the game with. Now they do print an official playmat as well, a nice rubber one, but this is also serves really well, if only just as a reminder for you and your opponent about where the different fields and zones are whilst playing it. So this is what you get in the collector's box. So this tray is used for holding the dice. You also get a free bag of Ninja Dust. So when you open it up, this is where you can store your dice in here. You can store cards in these sections. So you can get loads of dice in here. The other thing you can do as well, which someone showed me, which I never thought of for some reason, because you get a plastic overlay which goes over the top of this to keep everything secure. But you could, for example, put your spare dice on this as well. Now obviously it won't be quite as secure, you need to make sure you keep the lid on and handle it carefully, but you could easily use this for all of your spares whilst you keep your 4-ofs or however many you need of each dice inside this tray. So just put the lid to one side. So the first thing that came out, as you saw, was the felt dice bag. Now this one's been marked a bit by having been in this box for so long by the looks of it, so that's a bit of a shame. You can see there's a bit of damage to it there, but I'm sure you can buff it out over time. But yes, so the felt dice bag replaces the paper dice bags you'd have got if you picked up the two-player starters. The felt ones are a lot sturdier, a lot tougher, and it does make playing the game, if you play a lot, much nicer to have one of these felt bags, I will admit. Or you can ask one of your other half, if they're particularly good at crafting, to make you one as mine did. So inside you get enough starting dice for one player this time. So you get your sidekick dice and you get your basic action indicator dice. Now these are slightly different from the two-player starter for those of you who've already got that. These are sort of like a sort of like fairly translucent colour rather than just being solid white dice. So they are subtly different, and I do prefer these to just the solid whites. So I think they're quite a nice touch to have them different rather than just being exactly the same. So in the top here, you get some basic action cards and the indicators to go with them, as well as along with the dice. So you get the indigo, violet, yellow and green, very fitting for the War of Light. And then you get the basic action cards. Now I go through these in the two-player starter because a lot of these are in there as well. So I'm only going to glance through these. So You've Been Chosen is an interesting card. Basic action, it's mostly going to be for sort of doing sort of a funky combo with it. For fighting, this is just to make sure that your opponent suffers just as much as you do during combat. So for each of your character dice KO during the attack step, your opponent must KO one of their dice as well. So that works quite well, I think. Then you get Vicious Struggle. Until your next turn, you can deal your opponent damage for each damage you take that doesn't come from Vicious Struggle. So again, they hit you, you hit them back just as hard. Stealth Ops allows a character dice to be considered level 1, but also to be unblockable this turn. So they're not going to be pulling their biggest, not going to be swinging with their biggest punch, but they are unblockable. And you've got the global where you can spin a character die down to level 1, so you can even just make them level 1, including your opponents. Then we have relaxing, which allows you to draw extra dice, but you have to guess at the names of them unless you get the burst, in which case guessing the name you still incorrectly still means you're allowed to draw. Personally, I just think gearing up is more consistent, but relaxing still has its place. Monument to Evil is all about having the villains, and you get to deal 2 damage to your opponent, but if you get the burst, the double burst, you can deal damage for each villain you control. And the global allows you to turn one of your turn a character to die into gaining the villain affiliation. So, which is could be interesting, even if you only run this not for the damage, but actually just for that ability alone. Lethal Force allows you to deal damage to character dice, and again, if you get the burst, you also deal damage to your opponent. So this is just useful for pinging off characters, pinging off dice. Heroic Defense is great if you're going to have one big, massive blowout ball. So your characters get +1 attack and +1 defense, and each character KO'd this turn, you gain life equal to that die's level. So when your guys go for this great big swing and unfortunately get taken out in the process, you still get to gain life, so you still gained from it. Enormous Destruction is just a great big removal spell. Removing die are, you reroll character die of a certain purchase cost that you choose each time you play it. And then if they turn to energy faces, they could just get moved to the prep. So this can be used as a great form of removal, but you would have to slightly build around it. And then we have Big Entrance. So when purchased, you can add this die to your dice bag. When used, dice purchased this turn cost 1 less and may be put into your dice bag instead of the use pile. So this is really good for drawing extra, for getting the ability to draw the dice you've just purchased and purchase them slightly cheaper as well. So I think Big Entrance is quite a nice card. And then also, because this is a collector box, you get a promo card in here. So we have here Raven, Rachel Roth. So this is a promo. You can see from sort of the full art, the borderless text. While Raven is active, if another Teen Titan character is KO'd, you may reveal that die. If it is a character, face, return it to play. This doesn't count as fielding that die though, so you don't get the die, the when fielded ability. So pretty cool card. We haven't seen really many other Teen Titans, but it's still very cool. Very cool card. Although when I open the Gravity feed later, I'm sure I'll see lots of Teen Titans. So that's quite a nice promo card to get in there. And then underneath, don't forget about this, are 4 boosters. So it'd be remiss of me not to open these 4 for you so you can see what you get. So, or could potentially get. So let's open them up. So for those of you who haven't played Dice Masters before, in each booster you get 2 cards and the corresponding die to go with them. And a really fun game to play is to try and guess who the character is by just looking at the dice. But we won't for now. So we have Ranks, Sentient City, which from the colour band is just a common. As you can see, it's just a grey colour band. And this one is an uncommon, which is Spectre, Blinded by Sin. So I'm not going to go through each card individually, because I just primarily want to show you what's in the box, and also show you how this amazing storage works. And I just want to see if we get anything good. So, we get an Atom common, Dr. Ray Palmer. Oh, and yellow is a rare. So we've got the Lantern Ring, limited only by imagination. This also has the new ability, Continuous. So this ability is, surprise, surprise, continuous. And in this example, while active, when your characters attack, they deal 1 damage to target player for each energy symbol in your reserve pool that matches their type. So Batman, Fear is a Weapon. So this is a common as well. Usually you get 4 different versions of each character in a set. However, Batman and a few others have are in the 2-player starter, so there's only one version of them available in the boosters, and this is the Batman. We're not including the super rare in that. And then another common, Worth, peace be with you. I probably horribly mispronounced that, but you know, when you read a comic, you know, no one's pronouncing it for you. And then we have a Lantern Battery, so this is another common. And then we have the uncommon Supergirl. So, and again, dice. So you can use this to store the dice, keep your collection nice and safe, and it's a good way to bring your team along for use in events and stuff. Which well, it's always useful to have some way to store everything. The fat bag's nice, especially if you've only been using the paper bags. In the Raven promo, whilst a cool card is not the main reason you'd be buying this, the main reason is to have the storage solution. But also, if you haven't picked up something like the 2-player starter, you know, you still get at least the basic action cards in there from the new set. So I think for brand new players, I'd still recommend to start with the 2-player starter, but then maybe if you're enjoying the game, to expand up to something like the collector's box. And again, for established players, your collection's probably growing rapidly. Another collector's box would probably be quite useful to have, especially if you're doing lots of Rainbow Draft, which is my favourite way to play Dice Masters. But there we go. That is everything in the War of Light collector's box. So remember, everything you've seen today can be bought and sold on our website, bigorbitcards.co.uk. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave them below in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. Join me later. I'll be unboxing a 2-player starter set for War of Light and also going through a Gravity feed. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. See you next time. Bye.